Good morning and greetings to everybody. Today, in our lesson, we shall be using a statistical software called Fathom. Our goal is to find some centers of measure by investigating provided data. We shall be opening the vehicle data and looking into some guiding questions that will help us explore this data. Some common goals from Common Core is to construct and interpret scatter plots of bivariate measures, and from then we shall describe patterns that we see. Also, we want to know if what straight lines are if straight lines apply in the models or relationships of these uh, variables that we choose to study. Now we'll go to Fathom, and the first thing is to see that we have our sample up there. Now we have to open it. So just highlight it, then click on table, drag the table down to the window, and the cases open up. Now if you push the bar down, you'll see at the very bottom there, it says 3 cases, column 300. That means there are 300 types of vehicles. But we shall create a sample for 5 types of vehicles in order to study those. In order to get our sample, we shall right-click on this data and go down to the drop-down button to sample cases. At that moment, we shall change this number from 10 to 5 cases with no animation and no replacement, and just click on that. And in order to investigate how many samples went in here, just highlight it, click table, bring it there. Okay, we have 15 cases, which is not our goal. Let's change that to 5. As we were saying, so click on that sample there, right click on it, that drop down button to sample cases. Let's change this number to 5 cases, no animation, and replace existing. And then let's highlight that to check whether we have the right. Okay, so they chose, we've got 5 random types of vehicles. Now we're gonna have to do some summaries on them, and we will use graphical representations of a scatter plot. Now we have our 5 cases singled out. In order to get rid of this, just go to the X button and click on it. So we want a graph, and we're just gonna choose this categorical variable because the categories of vehicles are right there, and drop it to our x-axis. At this moment, you see that there's almost the same amount of vehicles all through. So on the y-axis, we want to include another variable, and this variable will be the highway MPG, because that's what we're studying here. So let's go to highway MPG, and okay, we probably need to move this down here. Okay, extend this over. Oh, here's highway MPG. Bring that on the y-axis. There we are. And now we have a scatter plot of data from the Acura to Chevrolet to the Ford and the Hyundai motor here. So those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, but then we see numbers across the y-axis here, but we see the dots which represent some sort of quantitative numbers. But let's do some summaries to get some specifics. For instance, what is the centers of measure? So to do that, we shall click on summary and just bring it kind of to the corner here. And then it says drop an attribute. So what you do is, I need to reduce this. What we'll do here, in order to drop an attribute, we're going to, I was hoping to move this down here, but it's not going to move. In order to drop an attribute, we shall just go here where it says highway MPG, drag it and drop it right there. Okay, so far you have a mean. If you want more, then you shall right click on it, on the space here, on the white space, and then go to add basic statistics. or you could say add 5 number summaries. That would be a better representation. All right, that way we're given the mean, the minimum, the Q1, median, Q3, and the maximum numbers, all listed corresponding right here. So we see that the minimum highway MPG is 25 and the maximum is 35, but we don't know where they appear. Now, in order to investigate where these values might appear, we go back to our plot. If we extend our plot out, we see that the minimum probably be the Hyundai, and then the maximum will most likely be the Chevy, because you investigate by looking what the quantitative value corresponding on the y-axis is. If we wish to change the view of the data, if this is not very clear for you, we may click right here at the top of the scatter plot, and there's a drop down button menu, and we can click a histogram, for instance. Now the histogram will give us very distinct lines which show that for Nissan the MPG will be right about 26, and then for the Honda it will be right there. So this is very easy to pick out that the highest actually is with the Chevy, the highest highway MPG is with the Chevy, and the lowest is with the Hyundai. So in order to discover what our distribution is, there are three main factors to look into: the shape, the center, and the spread. Now for the spread, we look at the range, and this means looking at quantities like the ones we got right here, and the range would be the maximum value minus the minimum value, and that would be a range of 10 because the maximum is 35 and the minimum is 25. In order to find the center, well, we have two centers of measures here, which is the median, which we found to be 32, and the mean, which was found to be 30.4. Now, if we had outliers, the median is a better center of measure because it's resistant to outliers. Since when we're computing the median, we don't really use those outliers, but the mean is is not resistant because it includes all the values, including all the outliers. By looking at our data with a range of 10 and median or mean being 30, just from eye inspection, there's no likeliness of having outliers. Now, this leads us to a big question of which type of vehicle gives the best fuel economy on the highway, and we give our reasoning why. Well, judging from our histogram, we look at, hey, this is those are our types of vehicles, and this is the highway miles MPG that we get from them. Well, the highest one is a Chevy. So from this random sample from our 300 cases, we find that the Chevy did the best. So if you went to a dealership and this is the only factor you're looking into, the highway MPG, perhaps you're going to use your vehicle on the highway mostly. Then if this is the only factor you're considering, you would choose to buy a Chevy. Now, if we choose another sample, it might not be the same. We could make another random sample by clicking, just highlighting. Actually, let's delete that. We shall highlight, right click, drop down button, sample cases. Let's have 10 cases in this situation, in this round, and then there are our 10 cases, and we're gonna have a graph. And for this graph, let's bring the division on the x-axis, and highway MPG, the y-axis, and then let's make that bigger so we can have a better view. I need to extend it more. Okay, here we go. Now we have a whole new set of random cases. bad. I accidentally deleted my graph, so bring down graph. On the x-axis, we'll bring the division of vehicles. Alright, and on the x-axis, we shall bring highway MPG. We see data is distributed, and let's extend that to make it as big as possible. And now, let's see what we have. Alright, now from this sample, let's try to do the same. Change this to a histogram to get a better view. And we can add a maximum value here. Or just from even eye inspection, we can see that the mean will probably be from this sample, the Chevy is the lowest, and the highest happens with a BMW. Now this is the division of vehicles, and that is highway MPG. Okay. Let's find some statistical centers of measure. Okay, go back here, trying to make that, and then let's see. Okay, so you're probably asking yourself, why do we have 3 different partitions here? Now this is because in the Chevy, there are 3 different types of vehicles, which have the first would have 16, and then another model would have 24, and the highest model would give us a 30. Now let's put those centers of measure in here real quick. Add. Alright, we'll change this back to a dot plot, and then we shall add the summary right here, and then we shall drag the, oh goodness, excuse me, let's make that little, and then let's drag the highway here, right click, add 5 summary number. Okay, in this case again, the maximum is 33, the minimum is 16. Now if we go back to the data and try to find which type of vehicle had the maximum of 33, well, 33 happens right about here. It looks like the BMW in this sample is the vehicle that has the highest MPG. So if you went to a dealership and this is the only factor you're looking at, then out of the vehicles in that sample, out of the Audi, BMW, Chevy, Ford, Mercedes, and Volkswagen, you would choose the BMW. So it's important to remind students that no answer is a wrong answer. It just depends on what justification you get from your findings. And since every sample is random, for sure you will find that every results that you get from each type of investigation, and depending on how large your sample is, will be different. What's important is the reasoning behind it. And that's our lesson. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of your day.